Hello, my name is Mieko Mazza, and I'm the head of technical services and the Japanese Technical Services Librarian at East Asia Library, Stanford University. During this presentation, I'd like to talk about topics related to the best practices for the creation of metadata for digital scholarship projects through illustrative cases, citing projects from my own institution in the hopes of painting a picture of the current digital scholarship landscape in academic library settings. A quick acknowledgement before I start. I have consulted many colleagues both within and outside my institution in preparation for this presentation. You can find the citations in the reference slides for the materials at the end of this presentation. As we see more and more collaborative projects between libraries and digital humanities scholars, as well as between students and researchers, technical services librarians find themselves in a central role, providing quality metadata for digitized archival materials. The technical services librarians have been embracing these emergency responsibilities because even though the workflow might have changed from the one that they traditionally hold, the goal remains the same, which is to provide the quality metadata for library materials so that the users can find what they need through accurate and high-quality metadata creation and management. Metadata has become the invaluable asset for the digital humanities project. As Magario states in Beyond the Back Room, the role of metadata and catalog librarians in digital humanities. Many professors and students are surprised to learn about the variety of skills metadata and catalog librarians possess that can benefit their digital humanities projects. Metadata and catalog librarians already have experience in areas such as developing project metadata schemas and controlled vocabularies. Stanford University has been involved in digital humanities since the late 1980s. Digital humanities studies are distributed throughout disciplines, led by such organizations as Center for Spatial and Textual Analysis, the Center for Interdisciplinary Digital Research, the Center for Computer Research in Music and Acoustic, and the Digital Humanities Focal Group, just to name a few. IIIF is an acronym for the International Image Interoperability Framework, and Stanford University Libraries is one of the founding developers of IIIF. As announced in our digital library blog post on August 30th, 2016, the Stanford University Libraries has introduced new features in its online catalog, SearchWorks, and users worldwide have access to high-resolution digital images to view, manipulate, compare, and annotate. You will see the IIIF logo, which is visible at the bottom of this slide, in the digitized images in SearchWorks. If you see this logo next to the image, it means that the image can be used in any IIIF-compatible viewer, which makes it possible to easily compare it to similar images at the other institutions, or to deep zoom, analyze, manipulate, or annotate them. A while ago, a user has contacted us to clarify the date of the Japanese collection's single-sheet print material. Since we have about 400 single prints of the same category, and when the date is not immediately available by means of the existing printing date, I would take the information provided by the vendor, which is oftentimes only the range of dates, such as early Meiji period, early Taisho period, and so on, and use that date in the bibliographic record. Frequently, the printing date or the date of publication associated with the print is printed somewhere in the margins. This particular print does not carry such a date. Now, I'd like to point out the print does carry aratame-in, or printed censor seal. However, the date from the aratame-in is not always easily decipherable. Therefore, at the initial time of my cataloging, I gave it the date range that vendor has provided, which is early Meiji period. After the user's request of clarification of the date by deep zooming this digitized high-resolution image on screen, I was able to figure out the date from the aratamein without physically retrieving the material from our locked stacks. The bibliographic record is now updated to Meiji 8年3月 or March 1875. In July 1st, 2019, Stanford University Libraries released a Mirador-enabled image viewer which provides enhanced support for full-text search for digitized textual context that are accessioned in the Stanford Digital Repository with the use of optical character recognition or OCR technology. Mirador is open-source web-based multi-window image viewing platform with the ability to zoom, display, compare, and annotate image from around the world and is compatible with IIIF. However, CJK material are out of scope for this release update. In this blog post by Catherine Astor, our Digital Library Systems and Services Manager, the search shows a search within feature. Search within is the ability to search within an any text-enabled search item anywhere you see the viewer in SearchWorks, which is Stanford University Library's online catalog. You would click the search icon and enter a search term in the space provided, and click the search icon to execute the search. In this example, the book is entitled Gali the Governor, and the search term used was sermon. You see the total number of search results listed on the left-hand side column. The first result is highlighted with the yellow indicator in the left-hand side bar. And you will see the first result also highlighted in a yellow box on the page of text in the viewer. The other results on the same page are highlighted in blue. As you scroll through the search results in the left-hand sidebar, the result you select will be highlighted in yellow. In December 2019, Stanford University Libraries has hosted the Fantastic Futures 2019 conference in collaboration with the National Library of Norway, and the session details, workshop details, and presentation videos are all available from the official conference link cited in the reference slide at the end of this presentation. I've attended Session 3, Handwritten Text Recognition, Transcribers, and Neural Networks, which was taught by Quinn Domrowski, our academics technology specialist, Division of Literatures, Cultures, and Languages. Transcribers, according to their website, is a comprehensive platform for the automated recognition, transcription, and searching of historical documents. There is no need to write code on your own in order to use this platform. It has neat tools such as handwritten text recognition, and with enough data provided, the HTR engine will transcribe the rest of the data in an automated way. Transcribers users can use existing models for recognizing printed and handwritten text, train a neural network model specifically for documents, search documents with keyword spotting, and export documents in all common formats. However, according to the Transcribers team, CJK languages are not yet available within the current scope. Additionally, according to their October 20th, 2020 announcement, Transcribers has ended its free open access phase, and from October 20th, 2020, it has moved to a paid model to further develop and sustain the platform. On October 12, 2017, Stanford University Archives announced the launch of Transcription Crowdsourcing Project. It will allow registered users to transcribe handwritten letters and documents from their collection using the from-the-page technology and IIIF technology. In the February 9, 2018, Special Collections news blog by Daniel Hertwig, a former university archivist, describes in detail on this topic. From the Page is a browser-based software that allows registered users to create transcription from the materials and accessible from anywhere. Its features include wiki-style editing, automatic markup, and it notably supports foreign language material in UTF-8. As I mentioned earlier, Stanford University Library is one of the founding institutions of the IIIF initiative, and we continue to explore ways to develop better features. IIIF allows users to display, manipulate, and annotate the image from various sources. By combining the two technologies, SearchWorks, Stanford University Library's online catalog, is equipped with full-text searching capability for some qualified materials, as I have touched on in slide number 6, which covered the blog post announcing the release of the new version of Mirador Viewer. This is a screenshot of the Kyoto University Historical Earthquake Study Group, a Japanese crowdsourcing transcription project of historical documents about natural disasters, titled Minna de Honkoku. Much like the From the Page transcription editing page, this transcription page allows editors to post comments and exchange feedback with other participants. In the project's introduction video, and the URL is highlighted in the address bar, shows one editor's comment in which the editor mentioned that he or she consulted Stanford East Asia Library's digital image for reference. This is Stanford's holding record of Taihei Shinga Kanyo with a Japanese transcription referenced by the Minna de Honkoku user in the previous slide. This enhanced online discoverability and full-text search capability allows our materials to be more accessible and visible, and that, in turn, helps other institutions' metadata creation as seen in the previous slide. Due to the lack of readily available technology that enables customized OCR and HCR processing for the Japanese language manuscripts, the transcription work is currently very much manual. On that note, I'd like to talk about one of our Japanese collection's unique holdings, the Magalio Family Diary collection. Magalio Family Diaries collection is the personal diaries of Mr. Hisao Magalio. How this rare collection of personal diaries found its way to the East Asia Library is a unique tale on its own accord. This daily diary, spanning 40 years, was kept by Hisao Magalio, who was in importing-exporting business in San Francisco area in the 1920s. Magalio owned a retail store that sells various Japanese souvenir-type merchandise in Oakland and San Francisco during 1919 and 1926, and after he went back to Japan in mid-1926, but continued to keep daily diary until his passing in Japan in 1960. The first entry was made on January 1st, 1920, and the last entry was made on March 5th, 1960. His wife, Husai Magalio, also kept a daily diary during the year of 1972. Along with 40 volumes of diaries kept by Hisao Magalio and one volume by his wife, Husai Magalio, we received scanned images of photos in a USB drive, was also donated to East Asia Library. The USB also contained scanned images of diary entry from 1920 to 1960 in zip file and several Microsoft Word files that contained summaries and keyword lists compiled by Hisao's grandson, Tsuneo Nakajima. While Hisao went back to Japan, his wife's younger brother stayed in the United States, and eventually both families had lost touch. When the great-granddaughter of Hisao, Miki Nakajima, came to the United States to study, she seeks out the descendant of Husai's brother and eventually got in touch with Stephen K. Yoda, who is Hisao Magalio's grandnephew, and both families reconnected after almost a century. The said grandnephew, Stephen K. Yoda, was a Stanford alumnus from Center for East Asian Studies, and through his contact with CEAS and with Miki Nakajima, Tsuneo Nakajima, and Tamiko Magalio, who is a wife of Hisao's son, this donation came to be realized in late 2016. The acquisition was widely publicized within the Stanford University libraries, and beyond. May 4th, 2017 article in Stanford Daily, and May 11th, 2017 article in KQED, which is a public broadcasting services that serves San Francisco Bay Area. Both reports in great details on the acquisition of the collection. The links are listed at the end of this presentation slides for your reference. Next, I'd like to talk about what kind of approach we decided to take with this collection. First step is to consult with the Virtual Object Accessioning Services team within the Digital Library Systems and Services and the Metadata Coordinator from the Metadata Department to decide what is the best way to proceed. According to DLSS's website, DLSS is recognizing the ongoing need to position itself for the digital future. The Stanford University Libraries created the Digital Library Systems and Services Group in 2004. DLSS is the information technology production arm of the Stanford Libraries. It serves as the digitization, digital preservation, and access systems provider for SOL, and it is a research and development unit for new technologies, standards, and methodologies related to the library systems. After the initial meeting with DLSS and discussed what is the best approach for this type of collection, it was decided that DLSS would accession the digitized images provided by the grandson to SDR. And meanwhile, the metadata coordinator would design and provide a replayable spreadsheet that would enable me to enter MODS elements such as title info, name, type of resource, genre, origin info, language, physical description, and notes in a labor-saving manner. I'd like to note that the term replayable spreadsheet is unique to Stanford University Libraries as it was developed here. It is a generic metadata spreadsheet template and MODS XML mapping template that can be used for various projects, rather than designing new metadata spreadsheet for each project. The template allows metadata creators to work in a familiar format than MODS XML when creating descriptive metadata. It allows the creators to use familiar functions of regular spreadsheet, such as autofill, filters, and autocomplete. And once it is completed, Argo, which is the administrative discovery interface for the Digital Object Registry, which provides Stanford University Library staff and Stanford community members access to the administrative front end for the SDR, can then automatically convert the spreadsheet to MODS. I will share the actual spreadsheet used for Magalio family diary collection in the next slide. As we are dealing with the handwritten manuscript, OCR technology is not applicable. Therefore, I'd have to provide descriptive metadata in the provided spreadsheet. Transcription style is according to the Metropolitan Museum of Art Archives transcription guide for punctuations, spelling, capitalization, and so on. For romanization, I follow the ALA-LC romanization table for Japanese. I worked on this project during May 2017 until October 2017. Each row represents a diary entry, and each column represents the metadata object description schema elements, or MODS element for short. As some of the images are for 2-day period entry, some row covers 2-day period, not just 1 day. Column A and B is the identifiers. Column A is for Digital Resource Unique Identifier, or DROID for short. The column B is Source ID. Source ID is a unique ID constructed for each item that matches the digital object's location. So in this case, the source ID is comprised by combining the accession number given to Magalio collection by the East Asia Library, then the date of the diary. Then we have the title of the collection, then the date range, and creator. The term creator was taken from the MARC code list for relators, and for this collection, Hisao Magalio is the creator. The transcription is entered in the column BD, designated as the note field, and there is no word limit for this column. Each field level has set instructions. For the raw code, we use appropriate code from the standard code list, such as the MARC code list for relators. And for type of resource, we use the definitions from LC-MOD's guidelines for type of resource. And for date-created encoding, we use the Library of Congress's EDTF standard, just to name a few. As I start to transcribe, it quickly became clear that few modifications needed to be made. Originally, it was decided that information from the donated keyword list would be sufficient to be used as is. However, as I continued to transcribe, it became evident to me that mere enhancement on the grandson's keyword list is not sufficient. I would like to quickly point out that this is by no means diminish the work that the grandson put into creating the keyword list, but rather we had very different goal. I was to identify personal names, corporate names, and geographical locations, as well as selecting subject keywords and their English translation and transliterations, and assign fast headings for the keyword list. So the metadata would be there if and when full text searching is available. After transcribing the year 1920, and it was evident that the transcription and assigning keywords process takes a lot more than originally anticipated, it was then decided that I would focus on the year 1924. As it was the year of Immigration Act of 1924 was enacted, and the diary would undoubtedly contain topics and many events that would be of interest for researchers. Additionally, there is a separate spreadsheet for the master keyword list. The subject keywords are extracted from the spreadsheet, and Japanese keywords and their English translations are entered in the columns side by side. For English translations, matching or closely matching fast headings are assigned. So for instance, if the geographic name is Redwood City appears in the diary entry, it is entered as California -- Redwood City in fast format. Now we will see what the diary actually looks like. This is a digital image of the daily diary entry from December 1st, 1924. The pre-printed date is just above the line on the top, and the day of the week is printed on the far left. On the top of the line, beneath the printed date, you will see the note field, which is blank in this diary entry. The text direction follows that of the Japanese style, which is from right to left with vertical orientation. There are 14 rows in each day. It is written mainly in katakana with some mixture of kanji and hiragana characters. Some English phrases such as tax and sales also appears from time to time. Most of the time, Magalio does not use punctuation marks. Only addition that I supplied to otherwise word-for-word transcription is to add periods at the end of phrase for readability. I would like to give you a brief overview of what my transcription work would look like. To that end, I have chosen the 10th and 11th row of this page. As you can see from the spreadsheet, the transcription is entered left to right, but I've changed the text direction to top to bottom in this slide for readability. The blue highlights indicate the omission by me. The yellow highlighted part translates as follows. Yukiko Furuta finally will enter the Going to Japan competition for Japanese United States, and a letter has arrived to ask for support. Now, what is immediately clear from the sentence is the personal name, Yukiko Furuta, and the fact that she is to enter some sort of contest that, should she win, it will allow her to go to Japan, and a request of letter of support to Magalio from someone. In order to provide useful subject keywords, I need to find out more information on this competition and who, if any, sponsored it. While transcribing, I learned that the father of Yukiko Furuta is Magalio's business associate, and Yukiko had worked as a salesperson in Magalio's store from time to time. So I can surmise that letter came from the father. However, what I still do not know is what kind of competition this is. Now, if this is a diary of a famous person, you can turn to reference sources. Fortunately, we have a database to turn to. Many of you would recall the very informative presentation on the Hojishinbun digital collection database by Dr. Kaoru Ueda, curator of the Japanese Diaspora Initiative of Hoover Institution, at the NCC's two-day workshop on digital scholarship and libraries and librarians at the University of Toronto on March 14, 2017. As stated in their website, it is currently the world's largest online archive of open access full-image Japanese American and other overseas Japanese newspapers. When I search Yukiko Furuta in the database, within the matter of seconds, I found this advertisement published in February 6, 1925 in Nichibei Shimbun. This is an advertisement put out by supporters of Furuta Yukiko, recommending her for the trip to Japan sponsored by Nichibei Shimbun. You can see Magalio's name listed as one of the supporters. Now I have the answer to my questions, I have the corporate body name and the topic that I could assign the subject keywords accordingly. Moreover, this little advertisement reveals quite a lot of information that is useful for this project. From the name of the supporters listed in the advertisement, I could see both the family name and the first name of the supporters, who is very likely the business associates of Magalio. Why learning both first name and family name is important, you may ask. The answer is that knowing both of the family name and the first name of a person helps me determine the identity of people appearing in the diary because, quite naturally, Hisao Magario addresses his friends and business associates only by their family names in his diary entries. Just from this single advertisement, I was able to provide quite a few authorized access points for personal names. Magalio's letter of support was certainly helped Furuta's case, and Furuta gathered most votes to be selected for the tour, as seen from this Nichibei Shimbun's follow-up article on February 18, 1925. Here, I'd like to share another example from our unique collection, which is currently being processed. The Japanese collection hold Kumamoto-han Bunjin Shojoshu, or a collection of correspondence and poems from various officials from the Kumamoto domain, which is a collection consisting of 31 separate sheets with letters and poems affixed on them. Currently, this collection's metadata consists of minimum information provided by the dealer. This manuscript collection is in characters written in kuzushiji, or the cursive style, and is very difficult to read by a non-specialist. Thanks to my UC Berkeley colleagues, I was able to attend a workshop there on transcribing Japanese cursive text from the Edo period by Professor Ryo Akama of the Art Research Center, Ritsumeikan University, on September 11, 2019. And I subsequently applied for ARC's International Joint Digital Archiving Center project so that I could make use of their artificial intelligence-assisted kuzushiji transcription database. Fortunately, my submission has been accepted and it is listed under D, International Joint Research to Utilize the Center's Facilities and Equipment section, among the other very interesting looking projects by various institutions. ARC's kuzushiji AI database does not provide automatic OCR for digital images that have been uploaded to the database. Rather, it provides AI-assisted transcription suggestions so that the users can take initiative to learn. The users can select from an AI-provided list of candidates arranged in the order of probability. The user selects one character from the AI-suggested list by taking the meaning of the word and context into consideration. By using the ARC's kuzushiji AI database, I'm able to provide transcriptive metadata to this collection that allows me to identify senders and recipients of letters and content so that I could add subject headings and provide authorized access points for personal name entries to each letter in order to enhance the discoverability of this collection. Here are several images of the database. In the AI-assisted transcription screen, the user can use the computer cursor to select a range around the character from the digitized image which he or she needs AI assistance for. In order to familiarize myself with the data range selection, I ran some tests using personal names that I was able to verify from a reference source. Take the previous slide's letter, for instance. As with a letter format custom from the period, one can find the recipient's and sender's name on the far left corner of the image or at the end of the letter. This is a letter from Matsushita Kyube addressed to Muto Katsuichi. I tested using the first character from Muto's last name, Mu, to set the selection range and see how the percentage and AI assistant outcome changes by differentiating the selection range to get a sense of how limitation affects the accuracy of the return results. As you can see, even simple character like Nichi, when you select different ranges, can lead to a very different result. This project is currently underway and is expected to be completed by March 2021. Providing metadata that meets the user needs and expectations while collaborating with colleagues beyond my regular workplace is becoming the norm for me, and it has been a truly rewarding experience. And on that note, I'd like to close my presentation. Thank you very much for listening.